I never thought the day would come when I'd be standing in my own kitchen, staring at my husband like he was a stranger, my hands shaking so violently I had to grip the counter just to stay upright. I used to laugh at women in stories who said they felt something break inside. But that morning, when his phone lit up with a message that changed everything, I swear I heard something inside me crack like glass splintering under pressure. We had been married for 7 years. 7 years of shared toothbrush cups, lazy Sunday mornings, silent looks across rooms that used to feel like intimacy but now, looking back, feel more like habit. I met Daniel in college. He wasn't the loudest or the most charming, but he was steady.
Warm.
The kind of man who remembered your coffee order and always walked on the outside of the sidewalk. He made me feel safe, and I mistook safety for love lasting forever. The first sign I ignored was his sudden obsession with going to the gym. Daniel had never been a fitness guy. He hated sweating. He used to joke that he preferred mental cardio, reading, debating podcasts, wandering museums. Then, out of nowhere, he was hitting the gym 5, sometimes 6 days a week, buying protein powder in bulk, Googling best workouts for men. I thought maybe he just wanted to feel healthier.
People grow, evolve.
Marriage isn't a cage. But then came the cologne. A new one, expensive, sexy. Something he spritzed on even to run errands. I'd kiss his neck, and instead of feeling comfort, I'd feel this strange, sour unease in the back of my throat. Still, I pushed the feeling down. Told myself I was being insecure, paranoid. I trusted him. Or, at least, I wanted to. It got worse when he started texting late at night. Daniel had always been respectful with his phone, never hiding it. Suddenly, he was tilting the screen away from me, getting up to take calls in the other room, smiling at messages like they were private gifts. I tried to joke once. "Who's your secret girlfriend?" He froze for a second too long before laughing.
Yeah, right.
Imagine me juggling two women. I wanted to believe him so badly. The truth was, I wasn't afraid of losing him. I was afraid of looking stupid. I confided in my best friend, Emily. We'd been inseparable since high school. She listened. She frowned. She told me I needed to confront him before assumptions poisoned things. Emily was always the rational one. Mature, calm, diplomatic. She and Daniel got along too, sometimes a little too well. But I never questioned it. Why would I? They were my two favorite people. Two people who knew me better than anyone. Two people I trusted with my whole life. The night everything started to unravel, Daniel came home late. Again. It was almost midnight. He smelled like that cologne, but also like something warm and sweet. Perfume, maybe. His shirt was slightly tucked wrong, like he'd changed in a hurry. He kissed my cheek and walked straight to the shower without even looking at me. I sat on the couch, staring at the door he'd just walked through, feeling my heart pound in my chest like a warning drum. That was the night I decided to test him. You know those loyalty test videos online? I always thought they were trashy. Cheap drama. Suddenly, they made perfect sense. I didn't plan anything cruel. Just a simple test. I asked Emily to call him the next day and invite him to lunch, pretending to need advice about a guy she was seeing. If he was cheating, he'd slip. Right? That morning, while Daniel showered, his phone lit up. I swear I wasn't trying to snoop. I just glanced. But the preview stopped my breath. It was a heart emoji. From Emily. My Emily. My best friend. My sister in all but blood. And under it, "You free later? Miss you already missing him." My vision blurred. My chest squeezed so tight I couldn't breathe. I told myself it had to be innocent. It had to be. They knew each other for years. They could talk. But the emoji, the timing, the secrecy. I moved like my body was a mine, grabbed his phone, opened the chat. And that's when I saw it. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. No kissing next time. We almost got caught, lol. My heart didn't just break. It detonated.
They talked about me.
They joked about guilt cardio. They had a code name for me, the roommate. My hands went numb. Daniel opened the bathroom door, steam rolling out like a curtain behind him. He looked relaxed, humming, drying his hair. And I looked at him like he was a monster wearing my husband's skin. How long? I asked. My voice sounded hollow. He froze. His towel dropped. His eyes flicked to his phone in my hand, and I saw panic flood his face. It's not what you think, he choked out. The oldest line in the book. The most insulting one, too. Then say something different, I whispered. He didn't. He just stood there, dripping water, shaking his head like if he denied reality long enough, it would rewrite itself. I walked past him, numb, deaf to his words. I didn't cry. Not yet. Shock is a strange mercy. It coats you in ice until the pain is ready to consume you in waves later. I got dressed. I grabbed my keys. I only had one destination in my mind: Emily's apartment. I don't remember driving there. I remember my fingers leaving sweat on the steering wheel, my pulse loud enough to fill the car, like sirens. When she opened the door, she smiled at first until she saw my face. What happened? She breathed. I pushed the phone toward her, the screen still glowing with betrayal. Her face strained.
She didn't speak. Didn't deny.
Didn't cry. Just silence. For a moment we just stood there, two ghosts staring at each other. Then she whispered, I didn't mean to fall for him. That sentence shattered the ice. Fire rushed into me. Rage, grief, humiliation, all tangled like barbed wire around my heart. Fall for him, I hissed. He's married.
To me.
I trusted you. She cried then, reaching for me, babbling excuses, being lonely, feeling forgotten, not planning it. Like cheating on me with my husband was a slip, like she tripped and fell into his bed. I stepped back. Don't touch me. My voice didn't shake.
Hers did.
She begged me not to tell her parents, to not ruin her life. Every word felt like acid. My life was burning to the ground, and she was worried about her reputation. I left without another word. I didn't go home. I drove until the city blurred, and my breathing steadied enough to think. Funny thing is, I didn't scream, didn't throw things, didn't make threats. I just felt empty. Like they stole something I didn't even realize I treasured: my ability to trust. When I finally returned home, Daniel was waiting, eyes red, pacing like a trapped animal. He tried to talk, explain, apologize. But there's no explanation for a knife in the back delivered by the two people who claimed to love you most. He started crying, real or not, I didn't care. Then he said something I will never forget. It only happened because you were distant. You stopped trying.
Blame. He chose blame.
I stared at him, and in that moment, something inside me shifted. Not rage, clarity. I told him I wanted space. He begged, pleaded, offered therapy, begged again. I didn't scream or curse. Instead, I said something cold, sharp, controlled. I will decide what happens next, not you. And I meant it. But here's the thing. This story doesn't end the way you think. Because a week later, when I finally worked up the strength to start packing his things, I found something in his drawer. A small velvet box. Inside, a necklace. Our wedding date engraved on the back. And a note. Surprise set up with E. Recording tomorrow. Anniversary message video. Don't forget to cry, idiot. My stomach dropped. Recording?
Anniversary surprise?
Confusion twisted into dread. I checked the email on his laptop, and there it was. He had hired a videographer to film a surprise anniversary message. Emily was helping him plan a vow renewal, helping pick jewelry, helping him rehearse a speech about loving me more than ever. The late nights, meeting with the planner, the gym. He said he wanted to look like the man you deserve. The texts. Last night was amazing. Apparently they spent hours rehearsing without me finding out. No kissing next time, referring to a dramatic scripted scene for the video. I sat on the floor, shaking, sobbing until my ribs hurt. I had ruined everything. Or had I? Because then I saw one more message, unread, from 3 days before I discovered the texts. From Emily to Daniel. We need to talk. This is getting complicated. I think I made a mistake. I think I'm in love with you. My vision blurred again, but this time from a different kind of pain. So she had crossed the line. He hadn't. He didn't even know. And I had confronted her first. Her tears weren't guilt, they were heartbreak. The betrayal was real, just not in the way I thought. I closed the laptop quietly. My hands felt numb, my head buzzing with too many truths and too little oxygen. I didn't know who I hated more, her, him, or myself for assuming the worst before speaking. Now I'm sitting here, staring at the necklace, wondering what to do. The vow renewal is still scheduled. The surprise is still planned. He still thinks he's proving his love. And she is the one who betrayed us both. I haven't told Daniel I know the whole truth yet. He still thinks I left because of the affair he never had. I don't know if I should tell him. I don't know if I want to stay married to a man I doubted so easily. I don't know if I'll ever trust a friend again. Tell me, if you were me and you learned your husband was innocent but your best friend wasn't, what would you do? I didn't sleep that night. I just sat at the kitchen table, the necklace box in front of me, like some kind of cruel relic from a life I wasn't sure was mine anymore. The house was too quiet, every tick of the clock sharp enough to cut skin. I kept replaying everything in my mind, the texts, the confrontation, Emily's voice trembling when she said she didn't mean to fall for him, and now this stupid necklace, this stupid surprise vow renewal that suddenly felt like a haunting instead of a romantic gesture. Guilt slithered through me like a living thing. Heavy, suffocating, sticky. I ruined everything.
Didn't I?
But then another voice spoke inside me, colder, harsher, one that sounded like a version of myself I didn't know existed before all this. No, they ruined everything. Because Emily did betray me. Whether Daniel crossed that line physically or not, the betrayal was real. And emotional cheating isn't less painful. It's just quieter and more insidious. And the fact that he hid things, even if his intentions were romantic, still cracked something in me. Secrets are still secrets. Lies of omission still carve scars. When dawn finally crawled into the windows, pale and merciless, I made coffee just to have something to grip. My hands were trembling again. Not from grief this time, from the weight of the choice I now had to make. And the strangest thought entered my head. I don't trust either of them. Not anymore. And once trust goes, what's left? Around 8 a.m., I heard his car pull up. Daniel must have stayed somewhere else, maybe driving aimlessly like I did. Maybe rehearsing apologies in the mirror. The door opened slowly, careful, scared. "You're here," he said softly, like approaching an injured animal. He looked wrecked, eyes swollen, hair a mess, shirt wrinkled. I didn't want to leave things like that.
Please, can we talk? Talk.
Funny how that word suddenly sounded like both a lifeline and a trap. I looked at him, and for the first time, I didn't just see my husband. I saw a stranger who held the most fragile parts of me in his hands and let them slip, even if unintentionally. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked finally. "About anything?" He sank into the chair across from me, his shoulders collapsing. "It was supposed to be a surprise. A good surprise. I wanted to remind you that we're still us. That I still choose you." He swallowed, voice shaking. "And I didn't tell you because you've been distant.
Tired.
Like you were slipping away, and I wanted to pull you back toward me, not push you further." That hurt, because it wasn't entirely untrue. I had been tired, disconnected, caught up in routines and exhaustion and the quiet erosion of intimacy. But people drift. Marriage isn't steady, it's waves, and we had been stuck in low tide without noticing. "And Emily?" I forced the name out. His jaw clenched, his eyes darting away. "She offered to help. Said she wanted to do something nice for us." I thought it was sweet.
Sweet.
Sweet like poison dipped in honey. He still didn't know what she confessed. He still thought she was just a thoughtful friend. My stomach twisted. "Did she ever say anything to you?" He frowned. "About what?" "About feelings." Lines being blurred. He shook his head, confusion written all over his face.
No. God, no.
Why would she? And then something flickered behind his eyes. A memory, a hesitation, a doubt. "Actually," he whispered, brows furrowing, "she did say once she envied what we had." that she wished she could find someone like me. He shrugged, oblivious. I thought she was just venting. I stared at him, and in that moment, a quiet truth sank in. He had no idea. He was clueless. And somehow that made the betrayal worse. Not because he cheated, but because he didn't notice someone circling our marriage like a vulture, waiting for a moment of weakness. If he had been more aware, would this have happened? Would she have gotten close? Would I have spiraled into suspicion? He reached across the table, fingers trembling, trying to touch my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't move toward him either. My hand felt like stone. I love you, he whispered. That never changed. And here's the horrifying thing. Part of me believed him. But believing him didn't erase the wreckage. Love isn't enough, I whispered back. His face crumpled. Silence sat between us like a wall. And then I told him. Not everything, not the vow renewal or the necklace, but the part he deserved to know. Emily confessed she had feelings. His face drained of color so fast I thought he might faint. No, he breathed.
No.
She wouldn't, she did. He shook his head violently. She's your best friend. She loves you. She wouldn't do that. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound I didn't even recognize as coming from me. She loves you more. The silence after that wasn't loud. It was terrifyingly quiet, like the moment before glass shatters. He stood abruptly, pacing, pulling his hair, muttering to himself. I need to talk to her. This has to be a misunderstanding. Don't you dare. My voice cut through the room like a blade. You don't get to go to her. Not about this. Not ever again. He stopped. He looked at me like he was seeing a version of me he didn't know existed. And maybe he was. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it transforms. What do you want me to do? He asked, voice cracking. And here's the truth, I didn't know. I wasn't sure if I wanted to fix us or burn the whole marriage down and watch it collapse to ash. Right now, I whispered, give me space. And don't contact her. Ever. He nodded, defeated. Then he left. Door closing behind him with the softest click, a sound that somehow felt more violent than a slam. When I was alone again, I exhaled shakily. One problem confronted. One truth spoken. But the story wasn't over. Because Emily wasn't done. And neither was I. And if she thought she was going to walk away after trying to steal my husband, after letting me think he betrayed me when it was her all along?
No.
No, she wasn't getting the last word. She took my peace.
My trust.
Almost my marriage. And she didn't even apologize. Not truly. Maybe I wasn't planning revenge. But I also wasn't planning forgiveness. Not this time. Not for her. And as I opened my laptop again and stared at all the messages that started this spiral, my heartbeat steady now, not frantic, one thought carved itself into my mind like engraving on glass. If she wanted a war for my life, she picked the wrong woman to underestimate. The next chapter didn't start with tears. It started with clarity. And a plan. Tell me, if someone you loved tried to quietly replace you in your own marriage, would you walk away? Or would you fight back? I thought anger would fuel me, that righteous fury would carry me like armor. But truthfully, the next week felt like walking barefoot through broken glass, painful, quiet, and deliberate. Every movement a choice. Every breath a negotiation with the ache in my chest. Daniel was staying at his brother's. He called once a day, sometimes twice. Never pushing. Never pleading again, just waiting. And part of me hated him for that too. For being patient. For giving me space. For not fighting harder. Because a small, wounded part of me wanted him furious, wanted him banging on the door demanding to prove his loyalty. Instead, he stepped back, like he believed he didn't deserve to stand near the ruins he helped create, even if his hands weren't the ones that lit the match. And Emily, she didn't call once. Not a text. Not an apology. Not a single attempt to mend what she shattered. A perfect silence, the kind that only guilty people hide behind. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I felt poisoned, like betrayal lived under my skin now, breathing with me. But here's when things shifted. 4 days into that hollow, heavy quiet, I got a message on Instagram. From a girl I didn't know. Username, Annabelle_27. It read, "You don't know me, but I think you deserve to know the truth. Emily isn't who you think she is. And Daniel, you're not the first married man she's gone after." My blood ran ice cold. I sat up slowly, heart pounding, pulse roaring in my ears. Another message came seconds later. "She did this to my sister 3 years ago. Same pattern. Best friend. Husband. Emotional affair. She pretends it's accidental love to justify it. I can show you proof if you want."
Proof.
Not rumors.
Proof.
My hands trembled as I typed back. "Please send everything." What landed in my inbox over the next 30 minutes was a full unraveling of the person I thought I grew up with. Screenshots, voice memos, old texts, a tearful DM from another woman, all saying the same thing. Emily had a habit, a sick one, of worming into marriages under the guise of being the supportive friend, then falling for the husband, or convincing herself she did, feeding off intimacy she didn't earn. And when it blew up, she'd vanish. Quiet, innocent, untouched. And every time, every single time, she played the victim, something inside me shifted again. Not grief this time, clarity sharpened by anger. I saw her now, not as my friend, not as a grieving woman who fell in love by accident, but as a collector, a predator masked in empathy, someone who fed on belonging until she could steal it. She didn't just betray me. She selected me, groomed her way into my marriage. This time, she just happened to pick someone who didn't take betrayal like a quiet bruise. I sat there staring at my phone, my heart steady now, steady in a way I hadn't felt since before all this began. It wasn't rage burning through me. It was purpose. And then another truth hit me like a slow, sinking weight. Daniel didn't just not cheat. He was prey too. A target. A fool, maybe. Naive. Blind in the way good men sometimes are, believing decency in others until it's used against them. I didn't forgive him in that moment, but I did stop hating him. And that mattered. The next morning, I showered, dressed, looked in the mirror, and saw someone I hadn't seen in a while, a woman who still had choices. I grabbed my keys.
Drove.
Not to Daniel.
To her.
I didn't text, didn't warn.
Didn't ask.
This wasn't a conversation. It was reclamation. When she opened the door, she froze like she'd seen a ghost.
Good.
She should have. I stepped inside without asking, like she used to do in my life. Her apartment smelled like espresso and fresh flowers. Deceptively warm. Like her. Like the trap she built around me all these years without me knowing.
She tried to speak.
I lifted a hand to stop her. "You've done this before." Her face strained. Not surprised. Just caught. "I don't know, don't lie to me again." I showed her my phone. The messages. The evidence. Her face cracked. A hairline fracture at first, then spreading like splitting porcelain. "So," I whispered, voice steady, "tell me something. Did you ever actually love me? Or did you just love what I had?" Tears welled in her eyes. Manipulation or truth. I didn't care. "I was lonely," she whispered. You needed attention that wasn't yours." Silence. "You don't love him," I said. "You love being the reason somebody chooses you over someone else." She flinched, like I'd reached inside and pressed a bruise no one else saw. "I'm not the villain you're making me out to be," she whispered. "I didn't plan this. You always do." I cut her off. "And you tell yourself it's fate, or emotions, or accidents. But it's hunger. And I was your meal." Tears slipped down her cheeks now. "Please don't ruin my life." "I'm not here to ruin anything," I said. "You ruined your own life. I'm here to take mine back." And then, the final blow.
Soft. Deadly.
"Stay away from my husband. Stay away from my marriage. Stay away from me." She reached for my arm, desperate. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I said, stepping back. "That's why I'm done." I walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. Sometimes the quietest exits echo the loudest. When I got home, Daniel was sitting on the porch,
Hoodie.
coffee in hand, eyes tired but hopeful, like he'd been waiting not to plead, but to see who I was now. I sat beside him. Neither of us spoke. Silence didn't feel hostile anymore. It felt like soil, ready for something new, but only if we chose to plant it. "Can I ask something?" he finally murmured. "Only if you can take honesty," I said. "Did you ever stop loving me?" I thought about it. About exhaustion.
Doubt.
Hurt. "No," I said quietly. "But I stopped trusting us." He nodded slowly. "Then let me earn it back." I didn't promise him anything. Trust isn't a switch. It's a rebuild. And rebuilds take time and choice every day. So I simply said, "Show me." He exhaled, relief and fear tangled. And then softly, "And Emily?" I looked ahead, not at him. "Emily doesn't exist anymore." We sat like that, two people broken but not destroyed, as morning light stretched over the porch like a fragile truce. I don't know where we'll end up. Marriage isn't about certainty. It's about willingness. And he's willing. And so am I for now. But betrayal changes you. And forgiveness isn't a door. It's a corridor you walk slowly. Hand on the wall. One step. Then another. Tell me, if someone shattered your trust but wanted to rebuild from scratch, would you let them? Or would you walk away and never look back? So here I am now, months later, sitting on the same porch where everything began to untangle, feeling the kind of calm that doesn't come from forgetting, but from surviving. People talk about forgiveness like it's a light switch. On or off. You forgive or you don't. But real forgiveness, it's soil under the nails, bruises on the heart, a quiet decision you remake every morning when you wake up next to the person who hurt you without meaning to. Daniel and I didn't magically heal. There were ugly nights, silent dinners, therapy sessions where I cried until my throat burned, and he sat there gripping the armrest like he was afraid I'd disappear again. But he showed up. Again. And again.
And again.
Not in big grand gestures, but in the small ways trust rebuilds itself. Unlocking his phone without flinching. Asking instead of assuming. Listening instead of defending. Loving me with transparency instead of surprise plans and secret intentions. And slowly, painfully, I let myself believe him again. Not because he deserved it at first, but because I did. Trusting again was never a gift for him. It was a gift for me. Emily never tried to contact me again. I heard through mutual friends she moved away, quietly, like shame knows how to walk on tiptoe. Someone told me they saw her alone at a cafe once, looking like a person who finally realized mirrors don't lie. I don't hate her anymore. Hate ties you to people longer than love ever could. I just released her. Some people aren't meant to be forgiven into your life again. They're meant to be lessons carved into your spine so you walk steadier in the future. I learned mine. I learned that loyalty isn't loud. It's consistent. And betrayal doesn't always come with lipstick stains or motel keys. Sometimes it comes wearing your favorite memories and calling you best friend. I learned that marriage isn't tested by fire, it's forged in it. And I learned something else, the most important part. I am not fragile. I bent. I cracked. I fell apart. And then I stood back up anyway. Stronger. Sharper. A little colder maybe, but wiser in the ways that save you, not soften you. The vow renewal never happened. We didn't need symbolic promises in front of witnesses. We needed real ones, whispered in the dark, proven in the daylight. And over time we made them one hard, honest day at a time. Now, sometimes Daniel looks at me like he's afraid I'll wake up and decide I deserve someone who never broke me at all. And maybe I do. But loving someone isn't about finding perfection. It's about choosing the imperfect person who chooses you back, even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when the easy option is to run. I chose him again. Not blindly this time, but with eyes open, scars visible. Time will decide if that choice becomes our redemption or our final lesson. All I know is, I didn't let betrayal turn me into someone I'm not. I didn't let loss hollow me out. I rebuilt. I grew teeth. I grew boundaries. I grew into a woman who knows her worth because she had to fight to remember it. And if someone tries to take from me again, they'll learn I'm not the same woman they thought they could break. So tell me, after everything, if you found yourself standing on the edge between leaving and rebuilding, between protecting your heart and risking it again, which path would you take?